Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between MacSed and Loner here on Slag Pits. Loner is going to spawn as the red Terran player here at the 9 o'clock position. Meanwhile, that's the reason why I don't do that. Alright, and MacSed spawning as the yellow Protoss player here at the 12 o'clock position. So this is going to be Terran versus Protoss. Now, although these two bases are relatively close to each other as the crow flies, or to quote Lord of the Rings, as the Nazgul flies, it is going to take quite a large amount of time in order to scout out your opponent. It is actually got to go down this ramp and then make it away across here, past a lot of blind vents, and then back up the ramp. Although the map is relatively small, it does feel smaller than, say, Lost Temple or Kulos Ravine, or any of the other 1v1 maps with 4 spawning locations. Excuse me, yeah, don't drink Pepsi while casting. Because of these vents here and here, and the map actually feels much larger because you do not know what's on the other side of those vents. And by not knowing what's on the other side, I mean, limited vision makes you feel as though the map is a little bit larger. We can see a barracks now being placed down by Loner, and we'll see what Loner tries to go for in this particular matchup. And a probe is already wandering around, and that probe did scout out a little bit earlier than normal. I think the probe was hoping to try to put some pressure onto an early SCV, but it does not look like that will be the case at all. The probe's gonna walk all the way in, see that there is nothing, then walk all the way back down. He wanted perhaps to try to delay the production of that barracks, get some damage onto that SCV by scouting early and quickly, but it will not work out, as by the time the probe gets to right about here, this will be nearly done. So now getting into that position, you can see, yeah, another 5 seconds and this barracks will get done. The probe just realizing he has to simply ignore it, and now upgrading to an orbital command while training up that one Marine. Stevie, the SCV, now wandering around the far side, will quickly find that this is not going to be a full cross spawn, but will take a little bit of time to try to walk in between these two locations. Now, what will MacSed do? MacSed could try to hide some hide some buildings here, or perhaps even try to hide a building here and then put like a Stargate here. You can kind of hide the fact that you have any tech at all by placing buildings right behind on the other side of those vents. We now see a barracks being added with a tech lab, and also going for a second refinery. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a Reaper fast expansion, just because you normally do not build a refinery if you're trying to save up minerals in order to get a larger get that early command center. So we do have a Reaper now, and that Reaper will be hopping out of there in just a moment, but the command center will be significantly delayed, as we are now getting now have 6 harvesters on gas, and you can see that the amount of gas is double currently for Loner, and Loner now building a bunker on the front. And what else is he building? I'm not 100% sure. He's now researching the stim pack as well, so he is not going for fast expansion, perhaps trying to win this off of one base play. And oh, sorry Reaper, how I knew thee. I think this Reaper will just get destroyed like he has in all the other games. This is a much closer spawning location, but unless that Reaper actually tries to walk inside that base, he's not going to get any kills at all. Reaper needs to jump up one more time. Perhaps we'll be able to get 1 or 2 probe kills, and that should at least help, at least pay for the cost of that Reaper. The Reaper, no, actually able to escape though at 30 hit points. So I guess a 30 hit point Reaper better than the dead Reaper that we've seen in the past. One Reaper hanging around over here. That Reaper does move rather slowly, or in the same speed as that Stalker without the Nitro packs. So that Reaper just gonna sit off in this location. We are gonna activate the Xel'Naga Watchtower here, but the Xel'Naga Watchtowers may not even come into play all too much. SCV is not spotting this expansion. He's just holding position there. So an SCV now taken down without even realizing that there's a building being warped in, not even 30 feet from him. We can see the Reaper now trying to come back once again, but the Stalker gonna be able to shut it down. Down it goes. Sentry is now in position. A robotics facility was spotted, so that should be of some help as well. Back in the base of the Terran player of Loner, we now see a reactor being built, a starport being built, and now are we going to play that? Why did he... Oh, that doesn't make any sense at all. Why would he possibly lift up... Oh, this is a tech lab, that's a reactor. They kind of look like the same building from the top. Okay, so now going for a reactor here, getting another reactor. The Marines, I cannot tell. They have Stimpack now being Stimpack finished being researched, so it's going to be a lot of siege tank and Marines with medevacs. So it's going to be 2 racks training up 4 Marines at a time, and then getting siege tanks and siege tech to round out the rest. So Loner now trying to opt into only 1 base play and seeing if he can get a lot of damage early on. I do not think he's going to try to expand. He wants to build up as large of an army as possible. And now MacSed, who has seen this strategy already, should be getting is getting 2 additional gateways in order to macro up a much larger army as well. 1 siege tank is now out. This bunker should be salvaged in just a moment in order to get even more Marines. Where are the rest of the Marines? The rest of the Marines are in a medevac here. So medevac going to be doing a drop in just a moment, and that's going to be very difficult for any of the stalkers to get into position. They're going to have to try to walk in here or try to warp into the back as well, and now this is going to be a lot of damage to be had. 1 stalker now trying to come in. The stalker could now being forced to pull away as the Marines are just having their way inside this base over here, and 2 very, very well-placed force fields. The rest of the Marines are going to jump back inside, losing 4 Marines there. 4 Marines, only 200 minerals, but it did stop the mining time at the main base for a decent amount of time, and you can see that there is going to be a drop in his economy down to 440 now. And I think that was actually a fairly successful drop there, at least stopping the mining and forcing his opponent to do something. And especially it's going to buy him time for the additional medevacs and siege tanks. There's going to be 2 medevacs here, more Marines and SCVs coming down, siege tanks being added to this group. This is going to become a very, very large ball of units in just a moment. The siege tanks are not sieged up though, so if they siege up, they should be able to battle it out. SCVs wandering across the vents, they do not want to wander that far. And 3 siege tanks now opting to just return all the way home. There is 1 probe here, and how is that probe still alive? I mean, it's sitting at the bottom of a ramp next to Marines and simply being ignored. So siege tanks perhaps getting ready. The Marines finally see it. Oh, I need to take down that scouting probe. He can see what I'm doing. Production-wise, double supply depots, more medevacs. There is an hallucinated Phoenix, will quickly get shot down by more than a dozen Marines. And now medevacs trying to continue that push. There is an observer here now, and the siege tanks are going to siege up and start blasting away at that high ground and getting a lot of damage. And now we see some bunkers being placed down as well. Does Loner see the sentries and the zealots? They see it there. And now continuing to just try to hold off against this attack there. There is the Guardian Shield, and now in come the Force Field. Stimpack now being used, both sides battling it out. Zealots trying to push their way through. The siege tanks taking a lot of damage, and there are Immortals in the group as well, and the Marines need to focus onto the Mortals as Zealots were warped in along this side. So Loner completely blindsided by the fact that there are pylons over there, and they were able to warp in and get a lot of damage. Stalkers, more siege tanks now trying to come in. It looks like the sentries are now trying to battle it back out. The bunker was not salvaged in time, and the Marines now in full pursuit along with some siege tanks. Down goes another zealot there, but the gateways able to warp in additional units, buying MacSed the precious time that he needs to fend off this attack. Loner does have siege tanks here, but they are just beyond the combat range. They need to move even further up or move away. Otherwise, the Immortals are going to be able to push in their way through. And now Immortals and Sentries, more Marines, SCVs coming off the mineral line, Stalkers, siege tanks, not even in siege mode, doing a great job as those Marines with Stimpack giving chase against those Stalkers. There are Zealots over here as well, and now the Marines are going to be able to finish them off very, very easily. Stalkers now coming in from behind, the siege tanks trying to pull away. The Marines actually wanting to act as the meat shield against those Stalkers. Siege tanks are still out of combat range. And the reason why he doesn't want to get too close is Stalkers from this position here would just be able to start battling it out. Finally moving up onto that high ground. Marines on the high ground and low ground. And now with the siege tank with proper sight able to start battling it out over here. Are the Stalkers and Zealots perhaps going to charge in from the bottom? A Raven now being trained as more Zealots being added. There is going to be a bunker though, so that bunker is going to definitely help with the +1 range and focusing on the same other targets. The siege tanks now out of range here, and the Marines now coming in, both sides battling it out. That one bunker has been taken down, but a lot of damage and a lot of focus fire in order to just destroy a 400 hit point bunker. And there's the GG by MacSed. So MacSed losing to Loner's double Marine or double reactored marine with stim pack and siege tank medevac. Very effective strategy here. I have not seen one base Terran in a long time, and this was a very effective one base Terran. But this is almost an all-in effort. If this push did fail, then there's not much that Loner could really do. He's already down to 7 mineral patches. He's mining at a significantly less rate as he has less harvesters, but just purely based on the resources lost and being able to stay in the game with his units, he was able to take the win. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and this best of 3 series. Here, game 3 taking place here on Slag Pits. Good luck, have fun. Hope to see you guys on Battle.net.